Hi there, it's your brother Nidlak Gupta back with another video, and today I am here to inform you about the deadliest crash that happened on Indian soil, as well as the third deadliest crash in history, and the second deadliest incursion between two aircrafts. This happened over Chakhi, Dadri, about 100 kilometers east of Delhi, and it happened between two airlines that were not native to India. So let's get started with the case. Saudi Arabian Flight 763 was a scheduled flight from Delhi Indira Gandhi International Airport to Tehran Airport in Saudi Arabia. And the other aircraft involved, Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907, was a flight from Chimkent International Airport in Kazakhstan to Indira Gandhi International Airport, Delhi. So, Saudi Arabian Flight 763 was a Boeing 747, and Flight 1907 was an IL-76 aircraft. What's most important to note in this particular case is that at that time, Delhi International Airport did not have a primary radar, which meant that on that radar you could only see where two planes are located, but you could not see their parameters such as their altitude, airspeed, etc. So, of course, that was a huge factor which contributed to this crash. Later on, I'll explain why. So what happened was Saudi Arabian Flight 763 was taking off from Delhi. So it took off, and it was just the end of afternoon and beginning of the evening. So it just took off, and the Flight 1907 was on its final approach to Delhi. So the air traffic controller, a very senior controller at the time, his name was V.K. Datta. He was controlling both these flights, and Delhi airport at that point did not have a lot of ATC controllers, so he was responsible for the takeoff of Flight 763 as well as the approach of Flight 1907. So now Flight 1907 and this Saudi Arabian Flight 763 were both aircrafts flown by some of the most experienced captains in the world at that point. In fact, you can search it up on Google. So, leading Flight 763 was Captain Khalid Al Shobeli, and he had more than 8,000 flight hours on the Boeing 747 aircraft. And Flight 1907 was being headed by Captain Alexander Cherepanov, who had more than 9,000 hours at just the age of 44. So both of these flights were led by extremely experienced captains, and they both carried about 349 people. Not both of them, combined. There were 37 people on board the Kazakhstan Airlines aircraft, and some around 312 people located inside the Saudi Arabian aircraft. Now, along with a lot of experience, it was noted that Captain Alexander Cherepanov and his crew were not really very good at English speaking skills. There are also some controversies that they most probably did not pass their English proficiency test, which happened about 6 months earlier. So that is another factor that must have led into the crash of both of these aircrafts. So on the final approach, Flight 1907 was cleared to descend to 15,000 feet, and the Saudi Arabian aircraft was instructed to climb to 14,000 feet to keep 1,000 feet of clearance between both the aircraft. The Kazakhstan Airlines aircraft was supposed to be higher in the case. However, it was discovered that the cockpit voice must be garbled, and because of that, the Kazakhstan Airlines crew actually thought that they were cleared to 14,500 feet. In fact, they went on to descend even below that, and the Saudi Arabian crew did follow the orders of flying at 14,000 feet until they cleared the Kazakhstan Airlines aircraft. However, Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 did not obey the orders of staying at 15,000 feet, and they proceeded to descend below that. And a point came such that both the aircrafts were invisible side of each other. At this point, of course, the pilots tried their best to evade a collision, but it was too little too late, and the tail of the Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 aircraft, it struck the wing of the Boeing 747 aircraft of Saudi Arabian Airlines Flight 763. I've just drawn a very rough diagram over here, so please ignore my drawing, I'm sorry. So this is approximately what happened. This was the Kazakhstan Airlines aircraft's tail, and this was the Saudi Arabian Flight 763's aircraft. This aircraft was going here, and Kazakhstan aircraft's tail was going here. So this meant that they met in a near head-on collision. And when this happened, the thing was that this Boeing 747 aircraft completely lost its left wing, and the Kazakhstan Airlines aircraft, flight 1907, it lost its vertical stabilizer, and because of that, the pilots completely, because it's also T-tailed aircraft, which means that the rear winglets, they are located on the top of the vertical stabilizer. So they had lost both elevator control, which guides the aircraft up or down, and as well as their rudder control. So they basically did not have any chance of survival. After that, it was done for. And of course, flight 763 had lost an entire wing. So there's physically and aerodynamically, there is no chance of coming back from that. And both the aircrafts crashed at near range at about 12 kilometers from each other. The debris were located, and all 349 people were killed. So after this crash happened, when these two flights were not visible on radar, VK Datta asked other aircrafts to have a visual of these aircraft if these were visible, but then it was reported that the flights have actually crashed, and a search and rescue operation began. However, it was extremely unfortunate. Two people from the Saudi Arabian aircraft survived, but then later they died from their internal injuries. So 349 people were killed. It deeply saddens me to say this. It happened over Indian soil, and so many people were killed, so many families were destroyed, so many lives were destroyed forever. So many people were having a lucrative time in their careers and in their lives, and having such a tragedy occur at such a stage of life is something that me and you could not even imagine in the worst of our nightmares. So although it happened many years back in 1996, deep condolences to them and their families. So now what is important to note here is that aviation industry did not become the safest traveling industry in the world just by existing. It was through these measures that they became the best and the most safe, as well as the most convenient industry in the world. So as we have seen, the inability of the Kazakhstan Airlines Flight 1907 crew to completely process orders of the air traffic control completely contributed to this crash, and pilot error was cited as the cause of this crash. The crash went on to become the third deadliest aircraft crash in history, and the deadliest mid-air collision, because the Tenerife airport disaster happened on the ground. So of course it was an extremely unfortunate event, and condolences to the family of the bereaved. And yes, thank you very much for watching this video. I'll be posting frequently from now on, so please stay tuned to my channel to learn more about aviation. Thank you. Jai Hind.